Good evening and welcome to the Bertrand stopping place, shelter and camp. This is historically the Bertrand stopping place. It's the place where people coming up from the Ottawa River would stop and get repairs and spend the night, get food and lodging. There are portions of this which are old and of course portions that are very new. This is actually the hunt camp that was built back in the 1950s. And on the walls are signatures from various lumber company representatives doing surveys. We also have the main trail. We're at kilometer 16 from the Grand Chute and kilometer 10 from the Ottawa River. So we're a very nice hiking distance for anyone going in either direction. I want to just show you some of the highlights of the Bertrand stopping place and shelter. That's the trail to the south, going to the Ottawa River. Mike Lamont made that bridge out of splitting a dead cedar tree. This way is the highlight of the Bertrand stopping place. It's probably the original building, at least that's my guess. It has a very unique feature, and that's this cable. It is quite a hefty cable. It's probably an inch in diameter, and it goes into this tree. Literally goes into the tree. The tree has since broken half. And so that cable is right in the middle of the tree. So it was put in some time ago when the tree was very young. And what did it do? Only God knows at this point. Of course, we have some little dump spots, if you want to call them that. Artifacts are prevalent everywhere through here. Here's the 1-inch cable snaking along the ground. And where it went and what it did, we just don't know. This is a really good example of what's left of a log cabin. Now, this is a very large log cabin. You can see they've scooped the sand up to make a ditch for water to come off the roof and dissipate, and to keep that bottom wooden log out of the wet. So this first building is large. I mean, it's not a single room cabin. It's quite big. You can see it goes right to the end of that pine tree that's down. And then an interesting piece is it has an attached building, but it's kind of unique in that it has a main entranceway. Like we're talking 10 feet on the foundation out to another building, which is huge. So this could have been like a big barn or a domicile, like a place where they had people. It obviously had a crawl space under it because that wall there is right at ground level, and this wall over here is up 3 or 4 feet. And it has a big depression. So, good guess. What might this be? Of course, a cold cellar is our first guess. There is a creek just over yonder and an escarpment behind us. And again, it's got another break in the foundation over this side. So there's the foundation coming up from the barn or the dormitory. And there's the inn or the house or the major foundation. And I would say it was first. And then there's this break. Again, we're talking 20 feet So was it a garage, quote unquote, or a drive-through into the barn, or don't know. Good guess. Going back towards the hunter's camp. Oh, look at that. We got the wood stove on, and there's absolutely no wind. So we're taking you through here, and we're going to open up to another foundation. So there's where the trail is, down that way, and we're going this way. So this is another foundation, and again, a very interesting shaped foundation. We've got the main foundation this way, and it is kind of rectangular, but it's a little wider down that end. Of course, there's a tree growing up in the middle, so you know how long ago this this foundation was made. Then you've got a little jog in the foundation here with, again, a pit, and then a narrower part of the building up to here. And again, you never know what really happened, but it could have been made in pieces or steps, or maybe this was an outbuilding, or maybe this was a back bedroom, or maybe it was the kitchen. Anyways, very interesting foundation. We're going to continue on up. Of course, we have an outhouse. Every good farm has an outhouse. We've got some divots in the ground. Don't know why or what or how they were made. And now here we're coming up on the ATV Emergency Access Trail. So this is the Fildergrand North Trail. And again, typically only ATVs would use that unless you wanted to hike up to, for instance, Devil's Chute on the Fildergrand. And that's an original tote road trail that also housed the fire towers because it has the telephone cable through it. So let's back up. This is again another foundation. And this is not a small building. And again, it's pretty easy to see where that bottom row of logs would be and where the sand came from, the ditch. And out back, it's got another major depression. Oh, and by the way, once we've cleared all the briars and brush, you'll see we have strawberries coming up. Very interesting to see the evolution. Originally, this was all sumac bushes, and we cut it down to find the foundations, and then next came up ferns, and then next came up strawberries. So very, very interesting to see the evolution of plants. Now again, we've got a lot of artifacts around here. The interesting thing about some of these artifacts is how they open the can. That could have been opened with a knife, for instance. But they're not all this. Oh, here's one. Yeah, now what does that look like? Even in modern day times, anybody probably over 30 might remember carnation evaporated milk. And that's the way we used to open them. And then, of course, we got can openers, right? That actually take the whole top off. This one here might be, good question. Maybe a can of beans or something? So, yeah. Things that are really interesting is things like ketchup bottles. All kinds of vintages of ketchup bottles around. And cheese. And like Sanka coffee. Things that you remember as your youth. And then there's a lot of like gallon cans. And again, who knows exactly what came in those. But all good research. And yeah, so there's another cold storage area. And this way we've got an old stovepipe. Now we spent a lot of time fixing up the cabin. When we first saw it like 3 years ago, it was mouse-ridden and not a pleasant place to spend the night. But it's quite comfy in there right now. There you go. We've cleared back the briars here just in this last trip to make way for a horse-drawn log sleigh we think we might use, or again to provide tent pads. And again, you can see how much work goes into clearing this. This is the way this all looked just last year. 2 years ago, just weeds, meadow. Now again, this is the campsite. Mike Lamotte has made us a beautiful table just with a chainsaw. And trees that were already dead and standing in the woods. And we got our fire pit surrounded by rocks. And again, more artifacts. Things like the ski from an old log sleigh. And there's a lot of these in the woods. And a key to it is that half of them are paper thin in the middle. So you can see how thin that is compared to the overall size of that would have started that thick. Now it's a lot thinner. Some of them wore right out in the middle. So lots and lots and lots of artifacts around. And this is our lovely Field de Grand. We absolutely love it here. Go swimming. In the summertime, it's only knee deep. Right now, it's probably, I don't know, 8 feet deep. 4 to 6. And on the far side, where you see that white pail, we've arranged for an emergency helicopter pad. So again, we've cleared the briars out and worked really hard to try to get that semi-level where a helicopter can land there. Having done a helicopter rescue just last fall, you have to have a big area cleared for that helicopter to come in if you want it to land. And here's a very interesting piece just recently. That is a slide made by the beavers. They are taking the sod, if you want to call it that, and the sand out from way up there. I mean, it's like a foot deep that they're scouring off the top, and it's disappearing in the river. Now, we went to find out where they were doing that, expecting it to be a dam that they were making just downriver. Nope, nothing. Went upriver, it's rapids very soon. Nope, nothing. So the water is very high right now. It's not at spring flood by any means, but it's high. These are old bridge abutments, and the tops of them are just showing. So there's a wooden crib filled with rocks under that, and the same thing over there under that. And it went straight across the river. Just like so. So, very interesting indeed. Now we have canoes on both sides of the river and paddles. So if you have to cross the river, like at this height, you don't have to swim it. No, you could actually take a canoe and pass. Just make sure you leave one canoe on each side. And this down here is our river campsite. So again, putting up tents there on the pad, and you got a nice big fireplace and lots of logs around. Now in the springtime, in spring flood, this would be flooded. So, but we're past that. Anyways, another view of our lovely cabin. Okay, so I've got one more set of foundations I'm going to take you to. Just hold on tight as I get there. Oops, sorry. This is the actual route we believe the tote road take. So it's in line with the bridge or the abutments, and it comes up here and it's pretty flat. This was all obviously filled in because again, they've got a main road here that's twisty and turns. And I figure the original tote road went right through where the cabin is today and beside the foundations that are behind it. So there's no culvert here. Obviously the water just seeps through, and we're going over there to the left. The key here is all along the brook that we showed you just over yonder, that brook there. There are all kinds of, again, pieces of metal skis, harnesses type thing, things that would be made by a blacksmith. And so we figured there had to be a blacksmith shop around here somewhere. That's the brook abutment right over there. So this is all leveled. Like this isn't like, you know, the original property. And here is another foundation. So again, very clear outline. And the trees tell you how long ago this building was here, okay? There was no way that tree was sitting there. It was probably a sapling just on the outside of the foundation. But those foundations are very clear. So this is the first time we've had all these this clear. It's early in the spring. And we have to stay on it. They will certainly be overgrown in no time. See, there's a little addition there, a little square, like maybe, I don't know. I wouldn't say a bedroom if it's a workshop, but it's something. And then over here is another foundation. And this one's really cool too. So it's just a little tiny square building. Again, tells you how long ago. Look at the size of those trees. They're in the middle of the building. And look how the beavers have girdled this tree. So they've chewn it away, and it will eventually die and fall over towards the brook, which is behind us. And again, this could have been like an ice house or something, because again, it's got a pit. I mean, that's all it is a building with a pit in it. So, and there again is the filter ground. So it's right close to the filter ground, which makes sense. If it's a night house, you're bringing the ice off the river, putting it in there. And we're going to take you down to the brook. Now, a blacksmith shop would want a brook nearby. And of course, we have our own brook, complete with, about a 4-foot waterfall. So, very, very nice. Absolutely love this place. It is just gorgeous. Tried taking a little bit of a dip, trying to get that water to flow over my shoulders yesterday, but I have to tell you, the water's freezing. It's about 2 feet deep. So standing up, it might be 5 feet from the top, but absolutely beautiful. Can't get enough of this place. Welcome to the historic Bertrand stopping place and campground on the Tote Road Trail, kilometer 16 south, about 10 miles north of the Ottawa River. And you can canoe across the Ottawa River. It's about 2K. You can actually canoe right up to Ryan Chute, drop your canoe there and hike up 5K. Visit here. It is absolutely beautiful. Good morning. It's Thursday, April 9th, and welcome to the Bertrand Stopping Place Shelter and Camp. I'm going to show you a bit about the emergency shelter. First of all are welcome. If you're using the trail, you can stop in here and get out of the black flies, which have just started. Got our first bout here in the last few days. Read the map, find out where you are and where you're going, and read a bit about the Bertrand Stopping Place. Its history, logging, and the fire tower, telegraph lines. These are 2 old ski runners that were worn paper thin, and we've redeployed a dock, and we're working on getting some rain barrels here for water. Inside, very welcoming, very nice. We've got water for rainwater or brook water. We have mirror. We have a full supply of soap and washing materials. You have to bring in your own drinking water, the spring at kilometer 21 on the way in if you come through Grand Chute, or with you if you're coming up from the Ottawa River, or bring tablets or boil it. All the windows have screens and all the windows open, and we have a number of artifacts around. Over here we got our wood area with some split wood, some wood which is drying out very nicely actually, tinder barrels, paper barrels, and we have supplies down here, emergency supplies only. Don't count on anything being here because you can't. It may get used up, or again, as volunteers, we have a few tools and things that are always available. Of course, we have our welcome book, and we have our operating procedures, and both are in French first and English. Over this side, we have our emergency door with an interesting door latch, and our wood stove, which is coming along absolutely fantastic, and a drying rack behind and above that. The wood stove this trip, we've lined with bricks, and that makes it really, really nice, and it really helps on the draft. So that's great. Down below, if you want to bake a pizza or bread, we have extra bricks and grates to go across inside the wood stove. Got a little bench. Again, lots and lots of windows. There are 3 bunks, so sleep 6. Realistically, 2 or 3 work out fantastic because then you have room to spread out. We have supplies up on top, rope, construction materials, and 2 RV mattresses for 2 of the beds, and a couple of blue mats for the beds. So absolutely wonderful, warm, out of the rain, out of the bugs, all that good stuff. Absolutely a great place to spend a night or 2 in a hunter's lodge. Hope you've enjoyed the tour of the grounds, tour of the cabin, and this trip video. Have a great day.